Thank you to our sponsors for today's video, Amber and StarCharge. Amber offers a modern extended warranty for your Tesla's battery and more without the burden of long-term contracts or upfront payments. Check out the link in the description below to browse their plan options and get started with a free over-the-air diagnostic check. This video is also brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world, and they are also a provider of residential or commercial battery storage and microgrid solutions. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video, and welcome to a super exciting day on the channel. If some of you have been following along, we have been living with a Kia EV9, the big electric 3-row family SUV. There's one just over there, that's not the one we had, and we've been actually borrowing it as a long-term loan from our local Kia dealership. I've never seen a dealership support content creators, automotive journalists, whatever you want to call Out of Spec, like Fort Collins Kia supports us. Whenever they get a new car on the lot, they call us up first thing, do you want to come run range tests, charging tests, do all the stuff? We don't have to wait for the manufacturer cars to slowly make their way into the press fleet after the first drive events. These guys truly support Out of Spec. So we've been living with that Kia EV9. We just made a final wrap-up 6-month and over 6,000 mile review, living with honestly a fantastic 3-row electric SUV. And I thought, okay, well, that was amazing. So cool of them to let us play around with it. My friend Mike over here said, hey, we got another one for you, another 6-month Kia. And I was like, oh boy, what does he have for us? He said it was spicy. So welcome to our new long-term loan, 6-month ownership reporting starting now of our Kia EV6 GT, the big boy spicy one. Well, Fort Collins Kia, this is one of the last videos hopefully we'll make here at the old dealership. They're building a beautiful new showroom just down the road. I guess maybe we'll be here a few more times before they move. It's under construction at the moment. But they were so cool and they're so great to us. They said, hey, why don't we get you an EV6 GT for the next 6 months and, you know, just keep this relationship going. And they're so cool to allow us to use their cars in comparison tests, to get range tests, charging tests, everything. And it's a great way for myself and the colleagues at Out of Spec to really have just a Kia on hand, immerse ourselves in their electrification strategy, and see all the good and bad that goes along with owning and living with them. Some of the things we noted from the EV9 where we really disliked the software. We had major problems with that. We've had friends who have purchased EV9s that have had 12-volt issues. And well, the only way we can really test a lot of that out firsthand is by living with the car. So that means we either have to buy them or we can have great partners here like Fort Collins Kia to let us drive this EV6 GT. So a couple notes up front. The EV6 is actually getting a mid-cycle refresh towards the end of this year into next year. So what's going to be really cool is we'll have this as a baseline ahead of our testing of the refresh car with a bigger battery and revised user experience and a bunch of other little changes coming. This will actually get the same gear shifting stuff that the Ioniq 5N has, which is kind of funny. But anyway, it is delivery day of our EV6 GT. Now, actually, at the moment, we're a couple days after we took delivery of this car, and so I want to go back in time to where I saw it for the first time when we dropped off the EV9 and picked up this car. And then of course I'll take you for a drive in this and we'll start our 6-month long-term review of our EV6 GT pre-facelift. This is the 77.4 kilowatt hour battery pack, over 500 horsepower, limited slip diff. This thing's amazing. We've done a lot of videos with this car already, driving it hard, taking it on the Autobahn, top speed blasts and charging, major thermal tests. We were blown away and really thrilled with the thermal performance. We'll have this on hand for when Ioniq 5N comes and for the comparison against Model 3 performance. It's just so cool of them to let us have this car. And it's one of my favorite cars I've driven all last year. I mean, this was right up there. So I am going to probably put more miles on this than we did even the EV9, just because it's smaller, it's fun, it's enthusiasty, and I'm really excited about this one because it is truly kind of a hot hatch. I mean, I know they'll tell you it's an SUV, but it's more of a hot hatch, and it's got plenty of room and all the good stuff. So let's rewind, to where I see it for the first time, and then I'll take you for a drive in our EV6 GT, the new Out of Spec EV6 GT. What a freaking ripper this thing is. Woo! Here it is. The day before probably we're shooting the intro, us taking delivery of the EV6 GT. Holy smokes. We've got shipping plastic for Alyssa to take off. Man, you just don't see EV6 GTs all that often. And I love the green stitching with these bucket seats, maybe simulated bucket seats. It's not a hardcore, but damn, so cool. Now, the thing with this car is, this is the pre-refresh. So we're really going to get a good understanding of the outgoing EV6, 77 kilowatt hour, all that stuff. And then when the next generation GT comes out, the facelift, we'll really be able to play around with that one as well. But this will be interesting because we'll be able to do a side-by-side of this car and Colton's EV6. They have a huge range disparity on paper, but we'll see how that actually does in real life. But wow, my first time seeing the car, and it is just so spicy. It's got the glass roof, which is interesting because the Ioniq 5N does not have the glass roof. And you know, the EV6 GT, this is not a very common car, especially with Ioniq 5N coming out with even more spicy power and some tuning and the shifting thing. It's really kind of interesting, but my understanding is with the refresh, this will also get the shifting situation to mimic the combustion cars, which, okay, I'm a combustion enthusiast, but I want the purest experience while driving. And I've experienced the Hyundai one, and it's interesting and it's really well done. I'm not sure I would use it all that much, but who knows? I really got to live with an Ioniq 5N for a bit as well. And what's nice is when we get the Ioniq 5N in for testing, we'll have this as a direct comparison to see how the two outgoing cars go and they do, how they perform against each other. Wow, we have to go through and set this up. 50 miles on the odometer, big back seat. Interesting, no USB-C ports in the seats like Colton's sort of lower spec all-wheel drive EV6. We're just in a bit of a rush today, so we'll have to basically film this clip right now, and then for the rest of the video, we'll set it all up, get it all in the app, and do all those things when it's time. Somehow they still have USB-A for CarPlay in this thing, but thankfully everything else is USB-C. Wow, what a freaking awesome machine. Some of you may remember when Alyssa and I reviewed the red EV6 GT, how much we loved that car. It was just a freaking rocket ship. Alyssa, that car was so fast and was so crazy, it caused the police to show up at our house to be like, what the heck are you guys doing? And now we have it back again. So I really have to be restrained until we take it to the racetrack. Track day with this thing coming up sooner than you think. Shout out to Fort Collins Kia for letting us have some fun with it. And yeah, just freaking can't wait. So anyway, this is the pickup delivery day right now, but we are in a rush. We have to swap the cars, get back to doing our things, removing houses and moving into the new Out of Spec hub all in the same week. We just have to run. So we'll pick up this video in the next clip for you guys, but for us, probably tomorrow or the next day. Well, guys, time to go for a drive. Now, I have already set up all of my settings in this car. I'm confirmed on Kyle. I have dark mode set, which is how I like it. I have most of my preferences where I like them as well. Yeah, lots of great stuff going on in here in terms of like nerd data. You can see just how many kilowatts everything is pulling. You can go through and set it to max battery power as well, which is one of these. It's not the best user experience. Here we go. Only happens when you're at high state of charge, but you can go maximum power output mode, preconditions the battery for top performance. And anyway, into drive. I've also pre-configured my mode, so I can go GT and my mode. And my mode is like sporty drivetrain, everything maxed out, but then super soft, cushy suspension. And I think for me, that feels good. Still have to pull the left paddle every time. This one over here, which was on the right side, but that's because the wheel was upside down. The left paddle every time to get I-pedal, which is just a pain in the butt. Why can't it just retain one pedal driving all the time? I wonder if we're a couple days here later. I wonder if we can find our EV9 or if someone's already purchased it. I'm not sure. That looks identical to Colton's EV6 there, Alyssa.
Yeah, it does.
All right, let's see if our EV9. So our EV9 rear wheel drive is for sale. They're going to give everyone a freaking smoking deal on it.
Everyone meaning one person.
Yeah, there's only one. And it honestly might be gone. I could run in and ask, but it could be sold. Oh no, here it is. Maybe it's sold, maybe it's not, but if you want like the best deal ever on an EV9, that's it right there. It's sitting at a good state of charge. It's at like 60% right now, so. Anyway, EV6 GT. Okay, so the thing with the EV9 that was really cool was that was a brand new car that we were really able to live with and demystify. A lot of our viewers of this channel already are familiar with the EV6. This car's been out for a few years. Of course, we've made a bunch of videos with the standard one. Colton owns the standard car. So where's the real benefit in having the GT? The real benefit is that I get to drive a 500 and something horsepower car and slide it around and have a good time and do track days with it and do all the stuff I think we have to do to fully evaluate this car. The thing is, EV6 GT is a much smaller market than EV9. Fort Collins Kia doesn't even stock EV6 GTs. They had to go out and order this car for us. And I can't thank them enough for doing so. It's really a cool specialty car. The main reason I asked for this over a standard EV6 or another EV9 or something like that was, yeah, I wanted to drive something a little bit different, a little bit spicy and exciting, but also we're kind of in this enthusiast EV explosion happening right now. Model 3 Performance is one of the best new car performance values on the market. Hyundai Ioniq 5N, also just an insane car at an even higher price point than this here. And I think these three cars represent a, you know, the buying choice before you get into, if you look to your right, Taycan money or Lucid Air Sapphire money or something like that. So this versus Ioniq 5N versus Model 3 Performance feels like a really interesting comparison that we'll be able to do with this car. Plus, it's just a cool car to be able to drive around as a team car. Jordan will drive this a bit. We're going to take it on a race to Vegas, I'm sure. We're going to take it on range tests, charging tests, all the stuff. We really have never done the data logging on GT. And the last point that I'm really excited about is the updated EV6 will be coming in the not so distant future. And that one's going to have the same like Ioniq 5N stuff, maybe even the same power output. I don't know, but why not? Make it crazy. We don't know the exact details yet, but we'll at least have this as a baseline comparison for when that car comes out. So there's no sense in me telling you about how this car drives or doing anything. We've already done a full driving review on this channel. We've already done top speed runs, thermal testing. This car is basically brand new. We took delivery with 50 miles on it. I've now got 192 miles on it. I'm going to be driving this car hard. I'm going to be using the high power charging. I'm going to be taking it to probably a track day or two just to really stretch its legs and open it up and see what that's like. And all I can say is a huge thank you to Fort Collins Kia. Alyssa, any thoughts on the EV6 GT? It's kind of a weird, rare, you just don't see many of these out there. What do you think?
No, I think the only time we've ever seen one in the wild was that one time when we were at Electrify America. The guy just got it, and he seemed to really enjoy it and was having a lot of fun. Really wanted it. I think it was his first EV too. Yeah,
and he was always 100% charging it so he could get max power.
Right, yeah.
So he was like, I just ripped on this thing everywhere.
Yeah, he really wanted the beans, so, uh-oh, I think that kiddo, oh, no, he got going. Yeah. I thought he just stalled or something.
I think he was asleep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it was a ar issue.
No.
I think it was a human issue.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember when we drove it allegedly up in the canyons, and it was a lot of fun. And we haven't done anything quite as spicy with this one yet.
No, this one I've been daily driving it this week.
We've been just so busy since we've gotten it, and
well, we've moved houses and offices.
Right.
So
yeah.
It's been a big week.
Yeah. So we're still catching up on sleep, but I like the car. I mean, I think it's comfortable. The only weird thing is this part where you gotta
I hate this where the volume, sometimes you're like, oh, it's so loud, let's turn it down. Oh, that's not actually it, let's turn down the volume. And then you're like, oh, it's ice cold, I put it to 62.
Yeah. And
that's the only major design flaw with this whole car.
Right.
And the seating position sucks.
Yeah.
I sit way too high.
Yeah.
And the steering wheel doesn't come out nearly far enough.
Okay. Okay.
And it's on like an angle of like being raked back. It's like mini bus driver mode. Like, let's get the wheel right here and put it kind of upright. Porsches are right at 90 degree. I don't know why that's hard for Kia to get right, but the driving position for me is almost enough for me to not like driving it, because the car itself is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good little car. I don't really have much experience or memory of experience with it. I haven't driven it since we've gotten it, so. But interior wise, it's nice. I like the stitching. Stitching's pretty.
Yeah, you give up cooled seats getting the buckets.
Yeah.
I think Ioniq 5N has cooled seats.
Oh, really?
But then this has glass roof, which Ioniq 5N doesn't. In our market, in certain markets does. We also have head-up display, which Ioniq 5N doesn't have in our market, but does have in other markets. So the thing is, my impression, a lot of people are going to be like, well, why? I wouldn't even consider the EV6 GT over the Ioniq 5N. And honestly, I would kind of be in that camp with my own money. The Ioniq 5N is just a step above, bigger battery capacity, really, you know, that car is just different body in white. This takes it like 70% of the way for performance, but then that is just completely retuned diff, same mechanical component, but completely retuned and just really hardcore. But that's also the facelift of Ioniq 5, and we haven't seen the facelift for EV6 yet. These EV6 GTs can be had for a steal on not only the secondary market, but even some new ones dealers are sitting on.
Right, yeah.
So,
I mean, the EV market right now for leasing is just crazy insane. We're getting different emails every single day of crazy leases and deals going on. We can't even keep up with it. We don't want to become a car sales channel, so
right.
We kind of got to dial down that stuff. But I mean, if you're in the market, definitely shopping. I mean, leasing, Kyle, you never suggest leasing, but leasing seems to be the way to go right now within this market.
Seems to make a lot of sense, and I think there are deals to be had on EV6 GTs.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not a large enough market for performance enthusiast electric vehicles, and if there is, most people just go Model 3. That's the default choice. So you'll see a ton of new Model 3 performances, but then these are kind of the oddball left field choices, but in some ways are actually better. Like, great braking package in here, great thermal package, which is something the Model 3 really struggles with. So pros and cons all around, of course. The range on this car is like very low 200-mile EPA.
Really
And I've
bad
even
consumptions too.
noticed just how poor the range is on this car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I can't wait to run this side by side against Colton's EV6, because they're both the same battery and the same car. This is just the GT and his is the all-wheel drive.
Look at this good boy.
Yeah.
Where you going, buddy? Your human's going that way.
Oh,
Where's your human over there?
I think the human's over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a cheeky one.
Yeah. I think he was running away.
Oh. Okay, not good boy.
Yeah, anyway, EV6 GT, so much to do with it. I'm trying to get some break-in miles on it. I like to get the bearings, the tires, everything 500 miles before we do the testing. So I've been trying to daily drive it. You're going to see this for the next 6 months on the channel, just like you saw the EV9. And I'm thrilled. Again, shout out to Fort Collins Kia if you're in the market for a Kia. I mean, seriously, they will ship a Kia to you anywhere in the contiguous United States at no cost.
Yep.
That's a pretty damn good deal.
Yep.
So we have a no dollar transaction with them. They let us borrow a car. We give them a couple ads on our podcast, and supports local business. A lot of you guys have purchased cars from them. I think it's been all pretty much great experiences, everything that I've heard. They have great lease deals on EV6, yes, especially. Coming up in like October, they're getting a big shipment of EV6s, and we're going to see a serious deal. So maybe even pre-sale some of those, call them up. Because Colton, we sold all those cars in like a day or two when we got Colton's EV6. And their EV9 lease deals, they have a bunch for like $300 and something a month, including tax, with a few grand down.
Yeah, for the wins.
Yeah, which is like not even the base one. That's pretty nice. So anyway, we like working with them. Huge thanks to them for letting us borrow this car. And it's a great way for us to do a long-term review. Thanks for watching. And let us know what you want us to do with this thing. I certainly have all the performance-minded ideas. Can't wait to get this thing on IMI and high planes and see how this thing runs when we open it up. Should be pretty exciting. I promise Fort Collins Kia we'll put a new set of tires on it when we're done, because we're going to certainly shred through these. And should be really great. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you all on another one again soon. Bye-bye.